Hey there, fellow cat servants and overlords. Picture this. It's 3 a.m. You're deep in a dream, probably about finally getting some sleep. Suddenly, you hear it, the unmistakable rhythmic crunch, 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 coming from the kitchen. Your furry CEO is having another midnight snack. You smile, thinking, "Oh, my little grazer is just topping off the tank." It seems like the kindest thing to do, right? To leave a mountain of kibble out so your precious fluff ball never feels the slightest pang of hunger. But what if I told you that this act of love, this 24/7 all-you-can-eat buffet, is actually one of the most dangerous mistakes you can make for your cat? Think your cat is just big-boned, or that they know when to stop? Oh, you sweet summer child. Today, we're going to uncover the hilarious and terrifying truth about the ever-full food bowl. Get ready, because we're about to change how you see that kibble forever. Before we start, drop the name of your food-obsessed criminal in the comments below. So before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let's have a quick chat about what a cat actually is. I know, you think they're a spoiled, lazy roommate who pays rent in purrs and occasional headbutts, and you're not wrong, but deep down, under all that fluff and sass, is a tiny, perfect predator. Your cat's great-great-great-great-grandpappy was a desert hunter, a lean, mean, mouse-catching machine. They didn't have a magical bowl that refilled itself. They had to work for their food. They'd hunt, catch a small meal, eat it, and then rest until they were hungry enough to hunt again. This hunt, catch, eat, groom, sleep cycle is hardwired into their DNA. It's their entire operating system. Understanding this fundamental truth is the key to everything. They are not cows or sheep designed to graze all day. They are sprinters, not marathon eaters. Remembering this will help you see why our well-intentioned all-day buffet completely short-circuits their ancient, wild instincts. First up, let's dismantle the biggest myth of all, the myth of the grazer. So many of us believe that cats are natural grazers who just nibble throughout the day. This idea probably comes from watching them take a few bites, wander off to stare at a wall for 20 minutes, and then come back for more. But this isn't grazing. It's more like bored snacking. True grazing animals like horses have digestive systems designed for constant, slow intake of low-calorie food. A cat's digestive system is the exact opposite. It's built for processing high-protein, high-calorie meals and then resting. The constant availability of food, especially carb-heavy dry kibble, keeps their digestive system working over time and their insulin levels on a chaotic roller coaster. That nibbling you see is often a sign of a cat who isn't truly hungry, but eats because the food is just there. It's the feline equivalent of you opening the fridge for the 10th time in an hour, not because you're hungry, but just to see if anything interesting has magically appeared. They're not grazing, they're just bored. So why do we do it? Why do we insist on keeping that bowl full to the brim? Let's be honest, cat parents, it's about us. It's about our own guilt. We leave for work and we picture our poor, sweet angels sitting by the door, wasting away, convinced we've abandoned them to a life of starvation. We fill the bowl to the top as a way of saying, "I love you. Please don't be mad at me for having a job and a life." It's a preemptive apology made of kibble. Or maybe your cat has perfected the art of the pity meow. You know the one. That pathetic, drawn-out cry that suggests they haven't eaten in a decade, even though you just saw them finish a bowl 10 minutes ago. They are master manipulators, and we are their willing subjects. Free feeding is easier. It's convenient. It absolves us of the guilt of leaving and quiets the demanding screams of a furry tyrant. It's a solution born from love and a desire for peace and quiet. But as we're about to see, this convenient solution has some very inconvenient consequences for the ones we're trying to pamper. Let's travel back in time with a little cat ancestry 101. Imagine a vast, arid desert. This is the original home of Felis sylvestris libica, the African wildcat, the direct ancestor of your domestic fluff monster, currently sleeping on your laptop. These cats were opportunistic hunters. Their typical meal was a small rodent, a lizard, or a bird. We're talking about a meal that's maybe 30 calories, tops. To meet their daily energy needs, they'd have to successfully hunt and eat around 8 to 12 of these little snacks per day. Each meal required a significant burst of energy, stalking, chasing, pouncing. There was no guarantee of success. This process naturally created a feast and famine cycle. They ate when they could, and their bodies were exquisitely adapted to handle these small, protein-rich meals spaced out over time. Now compare that to a bowl of modern kibble. It's a calorie nuke. A single cup can contain over 400 calories. Your cat can consume their entire day's caloric needs in under 5 minutes with zero effort. This completely breaks that ancestral hunt, catch, eat cycle we talked about. Now let's introduce a modern feline affliction, the boredom eater syndrome. In the wild, a huge chunk of a cat's day is dedicated to finding food. It's their job. It provides physical exercise and, crucially, mental stimulation. What's the job of a modern indoor cat? Napping. Staring out the window. Judging you. Napping again. They live lives of luxurious, mind-numbing boredom. And what do humans do when they're bored? They snack. Cats are no different. When the most exciting thing that happens all day is the potential for food to be in a bowl, that bowl becomes the centre of their universe. Eating becomes an activity, a hobby, a way to pass the time. It's not driven by hunger, it's driven by a lack of anything better to do. The constant presence of food teaches them to disconnect from their natural hunger cues. Instead of their brain telling them, I need energy, let's hunt, it says, I'm bored, let's see what's in the dish. This psychological shift is one of the most insidious side effects of free feeding, turning a natural instinct into a compulsive habit. Let's talk numbers, because this is where things get really scary. We're talking about calorie overload, the silent enemy hiding in plain sight. Most indoor, neutered or spayed cats only need about 20 to 30 calories per pound of ideal body weight per day. So, a healthy 10-pound cat needs roughly 250 calories. As we mentioned, a single cup of dry food can easily be 400 calories or more. If you're just topping off the bowl whenever it looks a little low, you have absolutely no idea how much your cat is actually eating. It could easily be double what they need. Imagine if you ate 2 Thanksgiving dinners every single day. That's essentially what we're doing to our cats. This massive, consistent calorie surplus has nowhere to go but into fat storage. It's a simple equation. Calories in versus calories out. And for an indoor cat whose primary exercise is walking from the couch to the food bowl, the calories out part is tragically low. This isn't about them being lazy. It's about us providing an environment where weight gain is almost inevitable. So how do you know if your cat is packing on the pounds? Enter the body condition score, or as the internet has lovingly dubbed it, the chunk chart. You've seen the memes. A fine boy. He chomink. Oh, la chadudi. He coming. They're hilarious, but they've also normalised feline obesity. A healthy cat should have a visible waist when you look down at them from above, like an hourglass shape. You should be able to easily feel their ribs with a gentle touch, kind of like the back of your hand. If you have to press hard to find their ribs, or if their waist has disappeared and they look more like a furry sausage or a bread loaf, you've got a problem. This isn't just about them being cuddly or fluffy. That extra weight is putting immense strain on their entire body. Go ahead, take a look at your cat right now. Do a quick rib check. Don't worry, we'll wait. Seeing a little more chunk than you realised is the first step. It's the visual alarm bell telling you that the all-day buffet needs to be shut down pronto. One of the most serious diseases linked directly to feline obesity is diabetes. Yes, just like in humans, cats can get type 2 diabetes, and it's becoming terrifyingly common. Here's how it happens. The constant calorie surplus from free feeding, especially with high carbohydrate kibble, puts their pancreas into overdrive, constantly pumping out insulin to manage the flood of sugar in their bloodstream. Over time, their body cells become resistant to all that insulin. It's like they stop listening. The pancreas tries to compensate by producing even more insulin until it eventually just gets exhausted and can't keep up. The result? Dangerously high blood sugar levels. A diagnosis of feline diabetes often means a future of strict diet changes, blood sugar monitoring, and for many, daily insulin injections. Can you imagine trying to give your cat a shot twice a day? It's stressful for you and for them. And it's a chronic condition that is often entirely preventable simply by managing their weight and diet from the start. Think about carrying a heavy backpack all day, every day. That's what obesity does to your cat's joints. This leads us to another painful consequence: arthritis. Cats are masters at hiding pain. It's a survival instinct left over from their wild ancestors. Showing weakness makes you a target. So, your overweight cat might be in constant chronic pain, and you might not even realize it. You might just think they're slowing down or getting old. Signs can be subtle. Maybe they hesitate before jumping onto the couch. Maybe they stop using the litter box because it's painful to climb into. Maybe they're just less playful and more grumpy. That extra weight puts a massive, grinding pressure on their hips, knees, elbows, and spine. It wears down the cartilage and causes inflammation and pain. Reducing their weight is the single most effective thing you can do to alleviate this suffering. It's not just about adding years to their life. It's about adding life and pain-free movement back into their years. Here's a hidden danger you might not connect to feeding habits: urinary tract issues. Problems like crystals, blockages, and feline lower urinary tract disease, or fellow UTD, can be exacerbated by the lifestyle that free feeding encourages. Firstly, overweight cats are often less active. They drink less water simply because they're not moving around as much. This leads to more concentrated urine, which creates a perfect environment for painful crystals and stones to form. Secondly, dry kibble, the food of choice for free feeding, has very low moisture content. In the wild, cats get most of their hydration from their prey. A mouse is about 70% water. Dry kibble is about 10% water. This chronic, low-level dehydration further concentrates the urine. A urinary blockage, especially in male cats, is a life-threatening medical emergency. It's incredibly painful and can be fatal within 24-48 hours. By controlling their diet and encouraging more moisture intake through scheduled wet food meals, you are actively protecting their entire urinary system. Let's talk about a silent but deadly condition called hepatic lipidosis, or fatty liver disease. This sounds scary, and it is. It's one of the most common and severe liver diseases in cats, and it's almost always triggered by a period of not eating, especially in an overweight cat. Here's the terrifying scenario. Your free-fed, overweight cat gets stressed for some reason. Maybe you go on vacation, or there's a new pet in the house, and they stop eating for a couple of days. Their body, sensing starvation, starts rapidly breaking down its massive fat reserves for energy. But their liver isn't equipped to handle this sudden, massive influx of fat. The liver cells become overwhelmed and clogged with fat, causing them to swell and malfunction. The liver starts to fail, the cat becomes jaundiced and even more sick, and they definitely don't want to eat, creating a vicious cycle. Treatment is intensive and expensive, and not always successful. It's a stark reminder that being overweight puts your cat in a constant state of metabolic risk. Have you noticed your fluffy cat is starting to look a bit unkempt? Maybe their fur is greasy, matted, or full of dandruff, especially along their lower back and near their tail. This is a classic sign of obesity-related grooming problems. Cats are naturally fastidious groomers. They spend a huge portion of their waking hours keeping their coats in pristine condition. It's not just about vanity, it's about health. But when a cat becomes too overweight, they physically can't reach certain parts of their own body anymore. Their belly gets in the way, Their spine isn't as flexible. They can't twist and turn to groom their hindquarters. This leads to painful mats, skin infections, and discomfort. It's also psychologically distressing for a creature whose instincts scream at them to be clean. If you're having to groom your cat's back half for them, it's not because they're lazy, it's a cry for help. It's a clear, physical sign that their weight is now interfering with their most basic, essential behaviours. Here's a weird one, the finicky eater paradox. You'd think a cat with access to food 24/7 would be a great eater, right? Wrong. Often free feeding creates the pickiest monsters imaginable. Think about it. If you could eat pizza anytime you wanted, eventually you'd get sick of it. The pizza would just sit there, losing its appeal. The same thing happens with kibble. When food is always available, it's not special. It's not a rewarding event. It's just background noise. The cat loses their natural hunger cues. They never get to feel truly hungry, so they never feel that satisfying rush of appeasing that hunger. This leads them to turn their nose up at the perfectly good food in their bowl, often holding out for something better, like treats or your human food. They become fussy and demanding. By switching to scheduled meals, you reintroduce the natural cycle of hunger and satisfaction. The food becomes a high-value reward again. You'll be amazed at how a cat who hated their food suddenly cleans their bowl with enthusiasm when it's only offered twice a day. If you live in a multi-cat household, free feeding is like throwing a grenade into your social dynamics. It creates a recipe for chaos. First, you have the food bully. This is the cat who decides the community food bowl is their food bowl. They'll guard it, intimidate the other cats, and eat way more than their fair share, becoming obese. Meanwhile, your more timid or submissive cat gets stressed out, doesn't get enough to eat, and might start losing weight or acting out in other ways, like urinating outside the litter box. You have one cat who's overfed and one who's underfed, and you have no way of knowing who is eating what. It completely prevents you from monitoring the individual health of your pets. It also creates constant, low-level resource guarding and tension in the home. Separate scheduled meals in different locations allow each cat to eat in peace, ensures they get the right amount of food, and removes a major source of conflict and stress from their lives. This brings us to a hugely important point. With a constantly full bowl, you can't monitor their health. A change in appetite is one of the first and most critical signs that something is wrong with your cat. Whether they suddenly stop eating or become ravenously hungry, it's a major red flag that warrants a call to the vet. But if you're free feeding, how would you know? You might not notice for days that one of your cats hasn't touched the food, especially in a multi-cat home. By the time you realise they're unwell because you notice weight loss or other symptoms, the underlying disease could be far more advanced. Scheduled meals make you an active participant in their health. You see them eat. You know exactly how much they consumed. If they skip a meal, you know instantly. It's an early warning system. It transforms you from a passive food provider into a proactive, observant caregiver, and that can literally save your cat's life. Let's talk about the food itself, the dry food deception. The vast majority of people who free feed use dry kibble because it's shelf-stable and convenient. But let's be real about what most kibble is. It's often high in carbohydrates and plant-based proteins, which are not biologically appropriate for obligate carnivores. Cats are designed to thrive on a high-protein, high-moisture, low-carbohydrate diet from animal sources. Pumping them full of carbs is like trying to run a Ferrari on low-grade vegetable oil. Their bodies aren't built to process it efficiently, which contributes to insulin spikes, weight gain, and a host of other issues. Furthermore, the low moisture content, as we discussed, contributes to chronic dehydration, putting a major strain on their kidneys and urinary system over their lifetime. While not all dry food is bad, the very nature of it makes it a less than ideal primary food source, and its convenience makes it the number one enabler of the dangerous free feeding habit. Switching to scheduled, high-quality wet food meals is a massive upgrade for their health. So, what's the alternative? Welcome to the wonderful world of scheduled meals. This isn't about starving your cat. It's about honouring their inner predator. Feeding your cat 2 or 3 measured meals at specific times each day taps directly into that hunt, catch, eat instinct. The presentation of the food becomes the catch. The eating becomes the feast. The time in between meals allows their digestive system to rest and reset, just as it would in the wild. This simple change has profound benefits. It helps you control their caloric intake precisely, which is the key to maintaining a healthy weight. It rebuilds their natural hunger signals, making them enjoy their food more. It creates a predictable routine, which cats, as creatures of habit, absolutely love. It reduces anxiety because they know when to expect their next meal. And it turns mealtime into a positive bonding experience between you and your cat, reinforcing that you are the wonderful provider of all good things. Okay, you're convinced. But now you're terrified of the wrath of a cat whose 24-hour buffet has just been closed. Don't panic. The key is the slow and steady transition method. Do not go cold turkey. Your cat will unionize and stage a protest on your pillow at 4 a.m. Instead, start by measuring out the total amount of food they should be eating in a 24-hour period. Leave that amount out. When it's gone, it's gone. After a few days, start dividing that total amount into several meals. Maybe you start with 4 small meals a day, leaving the bowl down for only 20 to 30 minutes each time. Gradually, over a week or 2, you can reduce this to 3, and then finally to 2 meals per day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. This gradual process allows their bodies and their brains to adjust to the new routine without causing them undue stress. There might be some dramatic meows and a few Oscar-worthy performances of starvation, but hold strong. You're doing this for their own good. Want to supercharge your new feeding schedule? Harness the power of play before meals. Remember that hunt, catch, eat sequence. You can simulate it. Before you put the food bowl down, engage your cat in a short 10-15 minute interactive play session. Use a wand toy with feathers or a laser pointer. Always end the laser game by landing it on a physical treat they can catch. Get them running, jumping and pouncing. Let them really work up an appetite and successfully catch their prey, the toy. Then, immediately after the play session ends, present their meal. This is incredibly satisfying for them on a deep, instinctual level. It provides them with essential physical exercise and mental stimulation, helps burn calories, and makes the food at the end feel like a well-earned reward. It combats boredom, builds their confidence, and strengthens the bond between you. It's a total game changer. Another fantastic way to honour your cat's inner hunter is to introduce food puzzles. Instead of just plopping food into a bowl, make them work for it. This is called contra-freeloading, and it's the idea that animals are often happier when they have to perform a task to get their food. Food puzzles can be simple, like a ball that dispenses kibble when it's rolled around, or more complex, like puzzle boards with sliders and compartments. This engages their brain, encourages them to eat more slowly, which is great for digestion, and provides a fantastic outlet for their problem-solving skills. It turns a boring 2-minute meal into a 20-minute stimulating activity. You can even hide small portions of their measured daily food around the house for them to hunt. It's an easy way to enrich the life of an indoor cat, preventing boredom and the behavioural problems that come with it. A busy cat is a happy cat, and a happy cat is less likely to become a boredom eater. So, what's the ultimate benefit of ditching the all-day buffet and embracing a more structured, instinct-driven feeding plan? It's simple. You get a healthier, happier cat and a stronger bond between you. You're no longer just the person who fills the dish. You become the central figure in the most exciting parts of their day, playtime and mealtime. You'll have a cat that's at a healthy weight, with a lower risk of painful and expensive diseases like diabetes, arthritis, and liver disease. You'll have a cat that is more active, more engaged, and less bored. You'll be more in tune with their health, able to spot problems earlier. Yes, it requires a bit more effort than just dumping kibble in a bowl, but the payoff is immense. You're not just feeding their body, you're feeding their mind and their wild little soul. And that is the greatest act of love you can offer your furry little overlord, ensuring you have many more happy, healthy years together to be their devoted servant. So there you have it, the secret, slightly scary truth behind the ever-full food bowl. It's a habit born from love, convenience, and our cat's expert-level manipulation skills. But now you know that what's inside that little furry head is the brain of a hunter, not a grazer. Switching to scheduled meals isn't about being mean. It's about being a smart, proactive cat parent who loves their pet enough to do what's best for them in the long run. You're giving them the gift of better health, a longer life, and a much more stimulating existence. Because let's be honest, despite the 4 a.m. wake-up calls, the random objects they knock off shelves, and the occasional hairball surprise in your shoe, we adore these little weirdos. They are family, and they deserve the absolute best. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more cat secrets, and share it with another cat parent who needs to hear this. Now for my final question. What's the most ridiculous thing your cat has ever done to convince you they were starving?